Ladies and gentlemen, Pioneer Men's Varsity Basketball is live and on the air. As we are getting ready to go in the varsity contest between Pioneer Men's Varsity Basketball and the Dexter Dreadnoughts, as in the JV contest, it was Pioneer with a 2-point victory, 45-43. In the freshman contest, it was Pioneer 59-45. But of course, none of that matters when it comes to the JV contest. Taking a look at these two squads, Pioneer is now, according to MHSAA, 6-7 on the season, with that win versus Etzel Ford to start off the season, then a loss to Dearborn. They had a win at versus Chelsea, but then they lost to Plymouth. They beat Ypsilanti Lincoln 54-50, that back on December 10th. Then they had a nice two-game win streak as they beat Temperance Bedford 74-45, that on the 13th of December. Then they had a bit of a three-game losing streak as they lost to Huron, who is playing very, very well thus far this season, 65-40. They played East Kentwood away, and that was a 65-56 loss, 9-point loss by Pioneer. And then they played Saginaw United to finish off the calendar year in the Round Ball Classic over at Ferndale. That was a 65-55 loss to Saginaw United. They started off the calendar year with a pair of wins. Away at Monroe, they won 72-34, and they beat Saline here, our last broadcast with this team back on the 14th. That was a 60-48 win. They lost to Skyline back on the 17th. That at Skyline 69-59. Skyline had a big lead. Pioneer got it down to a 10-point game, but couldn't get it closer at the end. And then they were at the Always in My Bag Classic in Birmingham at Birmingham Grove. They played Hamtramck and lost that one by 3 points, 59-56. So looking to get back on the winning way versus Dexter here. Then they'll have another home game on the 29th versus Ypsilanti Lincoln. Then they're away at Bedford to close out the calendar month here. Taking a look at Dexter. Dexter has a record of 4-5 according to the MHSAA. They started off versus Pinckney with a win, 64-25. Back on December 3rd. On December 10th, they beat Monroe 61-33. They fell at Huron 79-46. Then they beat Skyline by a score of 47-45. Skyline doing well this season, so they had a big win by them. They lost to Chelsea 46-41, and to Adrian 60-49. Then they beat Saline and lost to Temperance Bedford and Ypsilanti Lincoln. So they are 4-5 on the season. Both these squads looking to get big wins. In the SEC Red Division, it is Huron leading 6-0. Pioneers 4-2 with Skyline 4-2. Dexter's right behind them at 3-3 with Bedford and Lincoln all knotted up. Saline's 1-5, and Monroe 0-6. We'll do a little intermission scoreboard report and talk about the scores from the last week as we hit halftime. But let's turn things over. We're very grateful to have Coach Ahrens with us today. How you doing, Coach?
Great. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. No place I'd rather be on a Friday than here at the basketball court. So love to see you. Love to spend the Friday afternoon or evening with you, sir.
Well, you always fail to mention we have the best. The three of us have the best seats in the house.
Absolutely, we do indeed. CTN here as well. Their broadcast will be tomorrow morning, typically on their YouTube channel. So a couple folks making way here. You get a chance to talk to the coaches?
Yeah, I sure did, and did a little homework. Let's start with the Pioneers. They are 6-6 for the season. They're on a 2-game losing streak, and that was against Skyline and Hamtramck, I believe.
Indeed.
And at home, the Pioneers are 2-3 and have a better record on the road, actually, with 4-2. Dexter's 4-5. They lost their last game On the road, they're 2-3. So both teams need a win, and this would be a big win for both teams.
Absolutely.
Coach Marion said this week he had a couple days with good practices. They missed a day because of the weather. He's been simplifying things, trying to get his players to anticipate and react. I call it read and react.
Indeed.
Harrison and Powell have been carrying the majority of the point scoring. A couple of things he thinks he needs to do very well tonight to win. Number one is attack the paint on offense.
Indeed.
And he wants the team to play smart and hard on defense. And offensive rebounds will be a big stat for him.
Excellent.
Dexter, Jason Rickner's first season. He was a JV coach there last year. On the sidelines assisting him is Randy Swarberlin and Dane Wiggers.
And we'll have to break for just a moment for the national anthem. We'll be right back and hear the rest of what the Dexter coaches had to say to honor America, the playing of the national anthem. Alrighty.
Back to pre-game interviews. I failed to mention the assistant coaches, excuse me, for Pioneers, Phil Thompson and Cameron Bonk.
Indeed.
And I always like to get their names in. Assistant coaches are so important to the head coach. Jason Rickner's got Randy Swarberlin, a veteran coach in this area. So last place was Manchester.
Nice.
And he's coached at the collegiate level at Concordia and Adrian College, and Dade Wiggers.
Excellent.
He believes what he's got to do well tonight is value the basketball, take care of it. Defensive rebounds is going to be his big stat, and limit Pioneer in the transition game. He knows Pioneer, if Pioneer gets out and starts running, they play a very good transition game. Dexter's got a very exciting player. I've seen him play several times. Jack DeMerrill, he's a junior, and he's a scorer. They got a couple kids that are good rebounders, and he had a very good week of practice. He said this might have been the best practice week of the season so far. I did a quick look at their numbers.
Yeah.
And offensively, Pioneers averaging 59.1 a game. So that roughly that's 15 a quarter. Defensively, Pioneers giving up 55 a game.
Gotcha.
About 13.75 per quarter.
Sure, yeah.
So we can keep an eye on those numbers. Now, Dexter doesn't score as much. They're averaging 49.2 per game, and average giving up 12.3 per quarter. And they give up 48.3 per game, which is about 12 per quarter.
Starting lineup for Dexter: DeMerrill, Rickner, Smith, Murphy, and Simpson. For Pioneer, it's McCoy, Harrison, Powell, Karsh, and Lee. And did you get our three officials' names there? Sorry, I know you were taking care of.
Yes, absolutely. Tonight we got Chuck Phillipson, a 44-year veteran.
Wow.
So he started before you were born.
Close.
Dave Siegel's been on the court for 24 years, and Brad Montek 24 years. That's a total of 92 years experience.
That is impressive. That is impressive. We can't have the games we love without them, so we appreciate them greatly. McCoy has it for Pioneer. Hands it off over to Harrison. Harrison comes top of the key. Harrison coming over on the near wing, down the near side of the paint, dishes it off underneath the Lee. Lee puts it up and in, and that's the first points of the game. 2-0, Pioneer with the lead. Here comes Dexter up the other direction as Rickener has it over midcourt. Gets it onto the free throw line over to Smith. Now coming down the baseline and put over onto the far side is Murphy. Gets it back into the near corner. That put up, and DeMero put up that shot. Wouldn't go, but another rebound. There's a three-pointer from the near wing for Murphy, and that's what, 3 offensive rebounds here for Dexter as they send it underneath. Finally able to put it in. It's had Simpson with it. But really, the Dexter on the boards created that with lots of extra offensive opportunities. McCoy in along the far boards. Here comes Powell. Powell gets it to Harrison at the far elbow. Harrison comes top of the key. Harrison dishes it off to McCoy. McCoy just off the top of the key. McCoy over into the far corner for Powell. Powell puts up a three-pointer and in. Powell has 3 points. It's 5-2 with 6:43 left to go here in the first. Coming ahead with it is Rickener for Dexter. Now top of the key over to Murphy. Murphy moves it over to DeMero on that far sideline. DeMero trying to find a place to go with it. Puts it up high over to Rickener. Rickener on the near side of the paint. Back into the far corner, coming down the baseline. As that is Smith. Smith trying to get off the baseline, puts it into the far corner. Three-pointer wouldn't go by Simpson. Ball out of bounds. That's going to stay Dexter ball. So Pioneer making it tough on Dexter to get the shots, but Dexter really good underneath the basket, getting those rebounds and making that Pioneer defense have to work on them. Plenty of extra attempts.
That's what we just said. Coach is going to count those offensive rebounds, and they had 3 on that first possession.
Bounce pass over on the near baseline over to Simpson. Now kick back just inside of half court over to DeMero. DeMero coming down the near side of the paint, puts it up. That off the glass, off the rim, pulled down by Harrison. Harrison trying to tip it ahead. That loose, picked up off the court by Murphy. Murphy sends it over to the far sideline, and that out of bounds. And it's going to stay Dexter ball. 5:50 left to go here in the first. 5-2 Pioneer with the lead. Dexter with the ball as Rickener has it. Rickener comes down the paint, bounces underneath. That knocked away by Lee. Good job, and Lee trying to get it over to Karsh, and Karsh didn't see it coming. Turnover by Pioneer. That's going to get it right back to Dexter. As Dexter inbounds it over to Rickener. Rickener just inside of midcourt, being watched by McCoy. Rickener coming over onto the near wing. Picked up the ball. Now bounce pass down on the near sideline over to Simpson. Simpson gets it. That's stolen away by Harrison. Harrison launches it ahead. That intercepted by DeMero. Now coming up, Simpson gets it over as that's put up and in. Murphy has his first points of the game. It's 5-4. Pioneer with the ball. Bounce pass underneath. That's stolen away. Here comes Dexter the other direction. Down by a point. 5:08 left to go. Rickener has it. Rickener gets it down on the baseline. Trying to put it up and in is Simpson. Simpson has 4 points now, and it's a 6-5 lead by Dexter. McCoy on the far wing for Pioneer. Puts it into the far corner for Powell. Powell work his way around over to Harrison, top of the key. Harrison had a great game last time here at Pioneer. McCoy bounce pass back to Powell. Powell for 3. Off the rim, pulls off to the far side. Pulled down by Rickener. Dexter with a 1-point lead, coming ahead with it. Murphy down the far sideline into the paint. Puts it up off glass. Falls off to the far side. Grabbed by Harrison. Harrison over midcourt for Pioneer. Pioneer down by a point. Over to Powell. Powell down the near side of the paint. Stops, puts it up. And Powell now has 5 points. Is a good stop and pop there to make it 7-6. Pioneer with a 1-point lead. 4:14 left to go here in the first. Rickener over midcourt. McCoy watching him as Rickener comes over onto the near wing. Rickener getting it underneath into the paint. That put up by Smith and in. Smith, good pass by Rickener to find Smith right underneath the basket. And it's 6-7. Dexter with the lead. Harrison on the far sideline for Pioneer. Double teamed. Harrison in the far corner, looking for a place to go. Launches it over to McCoy on the near wing. McCoy for 3. Off the back of the rim, the front of the rim. Wouldn't go. Karsh had it, but fell down to the court. picked up by Dexter. Here comes Rickner the other way for Dexter. Down the side of the paint, all the way back out onto the near wing for DeMuro. DeMuro, three-pointer off the rim. Harrison pulls it down. Harrison moves it over. McCoy quickly ahead to Karsh underneath the basket. Finger roll, wouldn't go. Off the front of the rim and came down. It's not quite strong enough coming the other direction. Rickner up underneath the basket, puts it up and in for his first points of the game. And it is 10-7, three-point lead for Dexter. 3:12 left to go here in the first. McCoy all the way over to Harrison. Harrison thought about it coming down the baseline from the near side. Big floater up and in for Harrison. As he gets 2 points, gets it to a one-point game. Dexter 10, Pioneer 9. 2:55 left to go here in the first. Rickner in no hurry, gets over midcourt. McCoy has him there. Now over onto the near wing for Simpson. Simpson bounce pass over to Smith on the far wing. Smith now back over on the near wing, over to Murphy. Murphy dribbles, comes top of the key into the paint, over to DeMuro. DeMuro puts it up and in. DeMuro with his first points, and that makes it 12-9, three-point lead again for Dexter with 2:25 left to go in the first. Here comes Harrison for Pioneer down the near side of the paint. Back over to McCoy. McCoy to the near elbow, all the way over on the far side to Karsh. Now Powell has it on the far sideline underneath the Lee. Lee looking, kicks it back to Powell. Powell, top of the key, puts up a three. That off the back of the rim. Karsh trying to get to it, and looks like that's going to be a foul, though, over the back, as that is going to be on DeMuro. His first foul on either team in this period. 2:07 left to go here in the first. 12-9. Dexter with the lead. Pioneer has done well, but it's been some turnovers and some second-point chances for Dexter that has them in the lead. McCoy down the baseline, over on the near wing for Powell for three. Powell, that off the front of the rim. Here comes Dexter the other direction. 1:57 left to go. They're up by three. As that ball over on the far sideline, back to Rickner. Rickner now on the far wing. Rickner into the paint, steps back, moves it over to Murphy. Murphy down the baseline, into the near corner. As that Smith with it. Smith coming over onto the near wing, back just inside of midcourt for DeMuro. DeMuro gets it over on the far wing for Murphy. Murphy gets it back. Smith trying to get it top of the key. Smith moves it over to Rickner. Rickner on the far wing. Rickner trying to come down the paint, and on the near side of the paint, just right back out to DeMuro. Now a shot from straight on by Smith, and that's a three-pointer for Smith. He has 5 points, and that's going to make it 15-9, 6-point lead for Dexter with 1:10 left to go here in the first. McCoy hands off to Powell. Powell all the way over on the near wing, as that's grabbed by Bailey. Bailey over to Lee, top of the key. Lee hands off to Harrison. Harrison over to Powell on the near wing. Powell comes top of the key, now to the near elbow. Powell down the paint, trying to put it up, but a foul. 53 seconds left to go. That foul is going to be on Boydston, and it's going to be his first. So 15-9, Lee at the line, able to get it to a 4-point game if he can hit both. First one is up, rolls all the way around and in. Lee with 3 points, trying to make it 4. He bends the knees, eyes the rim, puts it up, off the front, off the side. The rim wouldn't go. Rebound by DeMuro. DeMuro brings it ahead for the Dreadnoughts over midcourt. It is a 5-point lead for Dexter. They have it coming down the far sideline. And moved over onto the near wing. Bounce pass underneath that. Put up. Fell off to the far side. Powell with it for Pioneer. The other direction over midcourt with 34 seconds left. And off of his foot. Pulled the other direction. Here comes Smith for Dexter down the far side of the paint. Little strong. And pulled up by Bailey. Quickly to McCoy the other direction for Pioneer. Now Harrison down the far side of the paint. Stops. Puts it up off the back of the rim. Wouldn't go. Loose ball. Harrison tracks it down, but a whistle and the foul. Harrison picks up the foul. That's his first foul. 18.4 seconds left to go. Dexter with the ball in the 5-point lead. DeMuro to inbound, baseline left. Gets it over to Murphy, then back DeMuro. Harrison with a little pressure in the backcourt, not a lot. As DeMurrow has it on the far sideline. Now Harrison trying to knock that away. DeMurrow coming down the far sideline into the far corner for Murphy. Now there's a three-pointer off the front of the rim by Rickener. And trying to put up the second chance point, but the clock runs out. So it's 15-10. Dexter with the lead heading into the second. As, again, it was, what are your thoughts on that first period there, Coach?
A lot of action. Both teams came out hungry to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Dexter has 10 of their 15 in the paint, and Pioneer has 8 of their 10 in the paint. Both teams seem to be playing pretty good man-to-man defense, especially Harrison's doing a good job on the ball defensively for Pioneer. Dexter has got good movement in their offense. They're flashing a man into the middle, and they're trying to find him. Unfortunately, they've missed a few in the paint they probably shouldn't have missed.
Indeed. Indeed. If Pioneer can get some of those turnovers and some of those second chance points limited, they have an opportunity as they put themselves in a little bit of a hole this first quarter, but they have the ability to dig out of that.
Well, I think both coaches were right on when they said offense and defensive rebounds were important to them.
Huge. Absolutely. There's only so many times your defense can stop someone before they're going to end up scoring. As DeMurrow over midcourt. DeMurrow being watched by Harrison over on that far sideline. Gets it over to Harm. Harm right in front of the Pioneer bench. Harm over into the far corner for DeMurrow. DeMurrow puts up the three-pointer and in. DeMurrow now has 5 points and quickly ahead. Pioneer over to Boyd. Boyd puts up a three-pointer. That all the way down and out. So that rimmed out. 18-10. Dexter with the lead and the ball. Harrison knocks it away. Here comes Pioneer the other direction. Harrison over to McCoy. Down the baseline. McCoy over into the far corner for Powell. Powell back to McCoy. Back to Powell in the far corner. Three-pointer for Powell. That rims out. Hit the first one, but he's had a couple tough look misses after that. He'll continue to work. He's a fantastic three-point shooter. 18-10. Dexter with the lead. 7:10 left to go here before halftime. Bringing it ahead is Murphy. Murphy watched by Harrison. Murphy right in front of the Pioneer bench. Now Murphy, top of the key. Murphy gets it over to DeMurrow. DeMurrow now comes back out towards midcourt with McCoy watching him. DeMurrow called out for a screen, and now that moved away. Over to Murphy. Murphy, top of the key. Murphy coming down the far side of the paint. Moves that over to Boydston. And that's going to be a travel. That will be Pioneer's ball. 6:42 left to go.
Well, Coach Marion in the pregame mentioned one goal of his to win. He thinks it's very important to play smart and hard defense. I'll address that when we get some time.
Absolutely. Harrison brings it in for Pioneer, down by 8. Harrison, top of the key. Screen for Powell. That knocked away. Picked up, heading the other direction. Into the paint and put up with the finger roll. Wouldn't go for Smith. Pioneer with the rebound. Now bringing that the other direction. Dula Ogun gets it into the near corner for Powell. Powell, top of the key for Harrison. Harrison puts it up and in. Harrison for 3. That'll make it 18-13. 5-point lead for the Dreadnoughts with 6:09 left to go here in the second. As DeMurrow over midcourt gets it over to Boydston. Boydston on the near wing. Boydston now gets it over to Harm. Harm gets a screen from Boydston. Harm just off the top of the key. Over on the far sideline into the far corner. Grabbing it is Murphy. Murphy right in front of the Pioneer bench. Murphy now over to DeMurrow into the near corner. Racing down with it is Harm. Harm blocked off on that baseline. Gets it back to DeMurrow. Into the near corner for Harm. Harm down the baseline. Watched by Bailey. Bounce pass into the paint. And it looks like that's going to be a foul on Pioneer. 5:35 left to go. Is that Bailey? I think that was Bailey. Couldn't quite hear. Simpson in for Dexter. Dexter to inbound baseline left, or baseline right, as that's all the way back into the backcourt. DeMurrow with it. Harrison picks him up at the half-court line. DeMurrow over to Harm on the far sideline. Harm now over to DeMurrow on the near wing into the near corner for Simpson. Simpson Working his way around the three-point arc. Simpson back over onto the far wing for Murphy. Murphy into the paint. Murphy gets it back over into the near corner for Simpson. Simpson over for DeMurrow for three. That off the rim, trying to pull it down. That grab coming the other direction is Karsh for Pioneer. Pioneer down by 5. Is Dula Ogun. Has it. Now on the near wing, Harrison for three. He hits it. Harrison with 2 huge three-pointers. And it's the 2-point game. Dexter quickly the other direction as Murphy trying to put it back. Karsh trying to tip it away, but out of bounds as it is 18-16. Dexter with the lead. 4:49 left to go here before halftime. As coming back in is Rickener for Dexter as they'll inbound it baseline right. Harm trying to get it in as Rickner has it right in front of the Pioneer bench. Rickner on that far wing, now over to Simpson on the near wing. Trying to work his way around is Harm. Back over to Rickner. Rickner on the near wing. Now into the near corner. Coming down is Harm. Harm. Bounce pass into the far corner. There's Rickner with a three-pointer off the rim. Over Powell with the rebound. Here comes Pioneer. Opportunity to tie it up as Harrison has it. Pioneer down by 2, 18-16. Harrison on the far side of the paint. Back over to Bailey. Now, that's a three-point shot put up by Dula Ogun. At off the rim. Here comes Dexter the other direction. Rickner has it on the near wing. Rickner over to DeMurrow just inside of midcourt. 4:08 left to go before halftime. 18-16. Dexter with the lead. As Karsh watching Harm. Harm on that far wing. Harm comes to the top of the key. Harm into the near corner. Rickner with it there. Rickner back to Harm. Harm down the baseline. Harm puts it up, rolls off the front of the rim as Karsh with the rebound. Over now, bringing it ahead. Here comes Dula Ogun. Dula Ogun over into the near corner for Bailey for three. That trying to go down. It pops right back out. Rims out, and that's going to be a timeout for Dexter. 3:40 left to go. 18-16. 2-point lead for Dexter. You were saying a little bit earlier, Coach, about that defense, the strong defense that Coach Marion wanted.
Coach Marion, and this is a quote, we got to play smart and hard defense. And a lot of coaches will say we got to play hard defense. And,
Indeed.
But I like the way he says smart, meaning what he means by that is you got to make good decisions. When do you go to help for the team?
Sure, yeah.
How to read the ball and the man. We've talked about this before. A good defender always has the ball and the man they're responsible for in vision.
Indeed.
And you got to be smart and read what's happening on the floor. Can you sag to the middle? A three just went up. Now, a three-point field goal, usually we say long shot is long rebound.
Absolutely.
So we don't go in the paint. We get ready for the long rebound. We anticipate. So read and play smart defense and hard.
Absolutely.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
Man, that's
I don't
one of the
doubt it.
hardest things to teach as a coach. You got to be like a used car salesman, man. You got to sell it.
It's lots of effort and a lot of concentration, good field of vision there, and yeah. But it's always something. Like I said, even if your offense isn't going, you can always work hard on defense to try and get that to turn around. That ball over on the far sideline is Smith with it there. Smith over onto the near wing for Simpson for Dexter. Simpson trying to make his way into the paint, puts it up off glass and in. Simpson has 6 points now, and it's 20-16. Dexter by 4. Harrison brings it ahead. Harrison on the near wing for Pioneer. 3:13 left to go. Harrison on the far elbow. Gets it as that's put up by Dula Ogun. Wouldn't go for three. And fell off, and coming the other direction is DeMurrow. Rickner comes to the free throw line. Rickner at the far elbow. Gets it back over to Harm. Harm on the far wing. Harm working against Dula Ogun. Dula Ogun trying to keep in front of him, and there is going to be, I believe, a reach-in foul on Dula Ogun. And it's his first foul. It's second foul on the period. So 2 fouls on Pioneer, none on Dexter. So far, fairly clean quarter. Inbounded to Rickner in the backcourt. McCoy picks him up there. Rickner down the near side of the paint, over into the far corner for DeMurrow. DeMurrow on the near side, or on the far side of the paint, puts it up, gets his own put up as Simpson gets the rebound, puts it up and in. 8 points for Simpson, and it's back to a 6-point lead for Dexter, 22-16. Harrison for Pioneer down at the near elbow, gets his Ball was tipped back. Harrison got it over to Lee. Lee, top of the key. Lee trying to hand it off to Harrison. I think that's going to be a reach in by Rickener. He'll pick up the foul. So Rickener gets that foul.
We've seen 2 reach-ins, one for each team in the last minute here, and that's an example of poor defense. If you got your positioning and your spacing right, you shouldn't have to reach for the ball. You got to stay low and balance.
That ball put up from the far elbow off the glass. Wouldn't go for Powell coming up the other direction. Here comes Dexter on the near wing. And it's Murphy. Murphy over on the far wing. Trying to work his way and bounce pass underneath. Trying to get to Simpson. Knocked away. Out of bounds. Pioneer ball. Good hustle underneath to create that turnover. Karst inbound. Baseline right. 22-16. Dexter with the lead. 2 minutes left to go before halftime. What feels like a very fast first half. McCoy over half court. McCoy over to Powell. Powell coming down the far sideline. Powell gets it back over to Bailey. Bailey over to Harrison. Harrison at the far elbow puts it up and in. Harrison leads all scorers with 10 points. As again, he had a doozy of the game when we last broadcast. And put up and off the rim by Dexter. Pulled down by Karsh, but he can't keep it in bounds. And it's going to stay Dexter ball. Valiant attempt, but just couldn't keep it in. 1:34 left to go here in the second, 22-18. Dexter with the 4-point lead and the ball baseline right. Kicked it all the way back out to Rickener. Right on the blockades for Pioneer. McCoy watching him. Rickener turns, comes top of the key. Bounce pass over to Simpson. Stolen away by Karsh. Karsh coming down the near side of the paint. Knocked away. Out of bounds. That will be Pioneer's ball. As good job by Dexter to knock it away and not let Karsh get the easy basket, but great job by Karsh to get that steal.
Well, he read that pass perfectly. He got his arm into it, and he took off.
Inbound to Powell. Powell on the near wing. Powell. Now over to McCoy. McCoy works his way around the three-point line. Back over to Harrison. Harrison top of the key. Harrison over to McCoy on the near wing. Now Bailey has it on the far wing into the far corner. Harrison down the baseline. Harrison. Bounce pass over to McCoy on the near wing. All the way over to Powell on the far sideline. Now McCoy top of the key. Over to Harrison on the near corner. Harrison around the three-point line. And that is going to be a timeout called. Coach Marion wants to talk it over. As he wants to get the most out of this, he'd love to get this game down to at least a single possession game before halftime. And what are you telling your team as you're trying to make a little bit of a comeback here before halftime?
Well, just like you just pointed out, he wants a score one way or another. That would get it down to 2, but then you're instantly into defense, and he knows defense can turn into points.
Absolutely.
You always want to go into the locker room. It doesn't have to be necessarily a point run, but just playing well.
Absolutely. Something you can work on and build off of for the next half.
Correct.
Powell the inbound on the near sideline, as he has 5 points for Pioneer. Harrison with the game high so far, 10 points. Simpson has 8 on the other side. Powell inbounds into McCoy, just on the near sideline, double teamed all the way over to Karsh. Karsh on that far sideline, over to Harrison. Harrison, quick double team by Dexter. That means someone should be open into the near corner. Now Bailey has it on the baseline, into the paint, back to McCoy on the near wing. 38 seconds left to go in the half. Harrison has it on the far wing. Harrison, again a double team, over to McCoy. McCoy back to Harrison. Harrison, and back to McCoy. Now into the far corner for Powell. Powell over to Harrison for 3. He hits it. Harrison with 13 points. And it's a 1-point game. 16 seconds left to go. Rickener brings it ahead as Dexter is going to look to try and put it back to a 3-point game. Knocked away by McCoy. That is going to be a foul. McCoy will pick up his first foul. 3 fouls on Pioneer, 1 on Dexter. 9.7 seconds left to go, 22-21. Ball inbounded by Murphy. Murphy puts it up high over to Simpson. Simpson down the far side of the paint, knocked away by Karsh, but Simpson gets it back. Simpson puts it up and in. Off balance, step back shot with Karsh with a hand in his face, and he still hit it. That was an impressive shot. is Pioneer hasn't really let very many, well, neither team has let a lot of open shots happen, as it's been a lot of hands in the face, a lot of tight coverage throughout this game, especially on the Pioneer side. As taking a look at your point scores right now, again, Harrison leading Pioneer with 13 points, 5 for Powell and 3 for Lee. On the other side, 24 to 21. I thought it was a 1-point game. I thought it was 22 to 21. Did they throw up an extra? I'll have to double check on that. Anyway, on the other side, it is DeMurro with 5 points, 2 for Rickiner, 5 for Smith, 2 for Murphy, and 10 for Simpson. As we are counting down, it looks like might have the cheerleaders doing a little performance here. What are your thoughts on that first half, Coach?
Good first half. Both teams are below their averages offensively and defensively. 3-point difference, I think, is a good flow of the game. Both teams have shown patience when needed. Both teams have played some pretty good man-to-man defense. I see Pioneers' 3-point field goal percentage has to be pretty low. I don't have that number. But Dexter has scored in the paint, especially that first quarter, and that's really helped them.
And it's been something. It's been a couple big 3-point opportunities for Pioneer, but there's been a couple that wouldn't go down for both Harrison and Powell. Well, have hit some big ones, but have had some that have fought them as well.
Correct. Rebound-wise, Dexter is out-rebounded. Dexter 13 to 8. And turnovers, Dexter has 6. And I think some of them is because of Pioneer's defense.
Indeed.
And Pioneer has 3 turnovers. I don't have in the paint points, but I do know Dexter has a slight edge there.
Indeed.
Bench points is 0-0.
And not a lot of free throws either, just 1 for 2 for Pioneer, none for Dexter. So it's been a fairly clean game. Not a lot of, some fouls off the ball, but not a lot on shots there. So
and that's unusual because both teams have had good share of dribble penetration. And usually when you get dribble penetration in the paint, a lot of times there is calls. There's fouls, incidental contact. But, yeah, that's probably the main reason why the game's going a little faster.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah, not as many fouls and not going to the line. It seemed to cruise past here, and we're looking pretty good with that. So before we step away to do a little bit of messages from the MHSA, do you have a you make the call?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Here's the call I'm asking you for, Mark.
All righty.
Real short, simple one, I think.
Yep.
Here's a scenario. During pregame warm-ups, B55 is observed dunking the ball.
Gotcha.
Okay, we have 5 choices here what the official should call. A, Team B is issued a team technical foul. B, the game will begin with 2 free throws for any Team A player.
Gotcha.
C, Team A will have the ball at the division line to throw in to start the game. D, Team B head coach retains the coaching box. Remember, the officials can take that gift away from you.
Uh-huh.
Or E, all the above are true.
All right. Well, we'll step away. We'll play a few messages from the MHSAA. I have a little bit of a scoreboard report for the last week in the SEC red and white, and then we'll give you the answer to that as you are watching Pioneer men's varsity basketball. It is 24 to 21. Dexter with the lead at the half.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports. As players, coaches, spectators, and officials, For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Have we gotten to the point where at some high school game that an official has finally had enough from coaches, players, and adults, pulls off the whistle, and offers it to you? Let's hope not. There's no way you could do a better job. It's on everyone to promote good sportsmanship. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Nearly 2,000 of the state's top student athletes will be recognized for excelling academically and in school activities through the MHSAA's Scholar Athlete Award, underwritten by Farm Bureau Insurance. The applicants will be in the running for a total of 32 $1,000 college scholarships. Application materials are available exclusively online through the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
You don't have to agree with every call that the officials make, but we do have to have them to have the games we love. If you think you could do a better job, reach out to the MHSA or your local coach and find a way to volunteer. We cannot have the games we love without the officials. Taking a look at the last week of scores back on the 17th in SEC Red action, it was here on beating Monroe 73-36. Skyline beat Pioneer 69-59. We talked about that. Bedford really put it on Saline 85-54, and Ypsilanti Lincoln beat Dexter 41-30. On the 20th, it was University of Detroit Jesuit versus Skyline. That was a 77-64 win by U of D Jesuit. Pioneer lost to Hamtramck 59-56, and it was Temperance Bedford beating Adrian 73-51. On the 22nd, it was Chelsea beating Ypsilanti Lincoln 49-45, and University of Detroit Jesuit, the number one team, I believe, in D1, beat Huron by 1 point, 79-78. Taking a look at SEC White scores in that time period back on the 17th, it was Adrian beating Tecumseh 47-36, Chelsea beating Pinckney 56-36, Jackson beating Ypsilanti Community 50-21. So let's take a look again in that nice you make the call as it was during the pregame warm-ups. B55 is observed dunking the ball. And what is the result is a Team B is issued with the team technical foul. The game will begin with 2 free throws for any Team A player. Team A will have the ball at the division line to throw in at the start of the game. D, Team B, head coach retains the coaching box, or E, all of the above are true. This is a good one. This is not one I've really looked into. I'm going to say E, all of the above are true.
That is true.
Excellent. Oh,
that is true.
There you go.
And a couple years ago at Manchester, I had the exact same thing happened. My big guy, 6'8", with my back to the court. I heard a lot of noise. He went up, threw one down. The officials came over, politely told me what happened. We were at Britton Macon. Of course, they made both free throws.
Oh, of course, of course.
And they get the possession, and they score on that. So before we know it, it's 4-0.
Oh, before your offense can even touch the ball. That's tough. That is tough. It's something that a lot of the high school players, they go watch the college games, they go watch the pros, and the pros are dunking all the time. And, yeah, it's definitely tough. Pioneer has the ball down by 3. As that over to Bailey. Now McCoy into the near corner. Down the near baseline. McCoy over to Harrison for 3. As that bounces off the rim. Karsh has it. And Karsh is going to get hit with the traveling. As he ends up down on the court. That's going to be Dexter's ball. Tough call on Karsh there. That will come ahead. Rickener with it in the backcourt for Dexter. Up by 3. 7:41 left to go here in the third. As that working around, Rickner has it, double team. Karsh and McCoy on top of him. Rickner trying to get around. Now here comes McCoy. McCoy down the near side of the court. McCoy puts it up off the back of the rim. Karsh with the rebound. A couple big rebounds by Karsh. That ball tipped from behind by DeMurl. And that is going to be Pioneers' ball. 7:24 left to go here in the third. DeMero picks up the foul. That is his second foul. First foul of the quarter by either of these teams. As Harrison gets it to McCoy in the backcourt. McCoy over midcourt working against Rickner. Now here comes Harrison. Harrison gets a screen on the near wing. Harrison comes top of the key, moves it over to Powell on the far wing. Powell. Now over into the near corner. Harrison down the baseline. Harrison gets it underneath. And put up by Karsh in. Karsh with his first points. He has 2, and the whistle underneath, that's going to be an and 1. And Karsh with an opportunity to make it tied up. I missed who the foul was on. 2 Dexter fouls. None on Pioneer thus far early in this quarter. Karsh puts up the and 1 and in. Karsh gets the game tied. He has 3 points. It's 24-24 with 6:35 left to go in the third. Rickner brings it over midcourt for Dexter. McCoy watching him. Rickner on that far sideline gets passed into the far corner. Now coming down over into the paint. Put up for Simpson. Wouldn't go. Here comes Harrison the other way for Pioneer. Boy gets it over to Powell. That out of bounds. Dexter's ball. As I don't think Powell was expecting that pass, and it kind of got on top of him quick. 6:15. Dexter with the opportunity to take the lead. As the Pioneer person running the scorebook, talking to the official across the way. Making sure we get everything set. There we go, 6 minutes, 25 seconds. Dexter inbounds the ball in the backcourt for Rickner. Rickner bringing ahead. McCoy, light coverage in the backcourt. Well, provides a little tighter coverage as soon as he gets over midcourt. Rickner gets a screen from Simpson down the side of the paint. Up, and that's going to be a travel. As that's Pioneer ball. Rickner can't believe it, but Pioneer to inbound, baseline left. Karsh inbounds, and Pioneer looking to take the lead. McCoy bringing it down the far side of the court, over midcourt. Rickner picks him up from there. Over to Harrison on the far sideline. Harrison. Screen from Karsh. Harrison comes top of the key, and there is a whistle and a foul, as that's going to be on Karsh. I think they're going to call that a moving screen. So Karsh picks up his first foul, and it goes over to Dexter. So both teams are having an issue breaking this tie here. Rickner over to DeMero. Now Simpson bounce pass, trying to get it over to Smith. Back over to DeMero. Over to Rickner on the far sideline. Rickner against McCoy. Smith has it in the far corner. Down the baseline. Knocked away by Karsh. Karsh gets that. And Karsh over to Harrison. Harrison races up the court. Over midcourt. Harrison. Now that popped back. Harrison over to McCoy. McCoy on the far wing. McCoy over to Harrison in the far corner. Down the baseline. Harrison puts it up. And off the glass. Off the rim. Over to the near side. Simpson with it. Simpson skies it over. DeMero puts it up. That off the side of the rim. Powell with coverage. Now here comes Harrison for Pioneer the other direction. Harrison into the paint. Gets it back over. Putting up for Powell and in. Powell hard points in the paint from underneath, and it's 26-24. Pioneer with the lead. 5 minutes left to go in the third. Rickener for Dexter over midcourt. Rickener. McCoy watching him over on the far sideline. DeMero gets it over to Simpson. Simpson has that popped away. DeMero with it. DeMero, double team, back over to Rickener. Rickener just inside the blockades. Now DeMero. Bounce pass is Harrison trying to flash in front. That caused issues for Simpson getting the ball out of bounds. That's Pioneer's ball. Again, that good, hard, smart defense causing the turnover. McCoy up the court for Pioneer. Pioneer trying to add to their 2-point lead, 26-24. Powell over to Bailey. Bailey on the far sideline. Back to Karsh, top of the key. Karsh gets it over to Harrison. Harrison dribbles, comes to the far wing, over to McCoy. McCoy over to Powell on the near wing. Back over, Bailey for three. That off the rim, off the back of the front of the rim. Pulled down by Murphy. Murphy the other direction for Dexter. 26-24, Pioneer with the lead. 4:03 left to go here in the third. As Rickener comes over to the far wing, now coming down. DeMero puts it up from the baseline. That off the front of the rim, pulled down. Karsh trying to get it over to Harrison. That kicked off of a... thought it kicked off of a Dexter player, but it must have been off of a Pioneer player, as the officials have a better view than I do. That's going to be Dexter ball as they inbound back in the backcourt. 26-24, good defensive, hard-fought game here. Rickener against McCoy, comes over midcourt, over on that far sideline. Rickener trying to make his way down into the paint, trying to get it back over to Murphy. That's stolen away by Karsh. Here comes McCoy down the near side of the paint. McCoy on the near wing. Gets it over to Harrison. Harrison over to Powell in the far corner. Powell down the baseline. Powell now comes back, gets it back to McCoy right in front of the Pioneer bench. Harrison, top of the key. Harrison to the near elbow. Now steps back past the three-point line. Over to McCoy. McCoy flashes into the paint, puts it up. Falls off to the near side. DeMero with that rebound. Here comes Dexter down by 2. 3:07 left to go in the third. 26-24. Rickener for three. Off the front of the rim. Pulling it down, McCoy. McCoy quickly over to Karsh. Or Bailey. Bailey with the finger roll. Wouldn't go in. Powell with the rebound. Up and in. Powell with 9 points, and it's a 4-point lead for Pioneer. Dexter wants to talk things over, and really, it seems like some really good defense by both teams trying to make it difficult to break that tie. And
both teams are playing very well defensively, and they're going to have to if they want to win this one. And that play in the paint is going to be very important. And you get a shot in the paint, you want to walk away with at least 1 point. If you get hammered, that's fine. You get to the line, get two, at least knock down one of those. So you're coming out of it with 1 point.
I'm a little surprised. There has been some shots in the paint, but again, not a lot of fouls in the paint. So that's something that either the defense is being good, not going up and whacking the person when they're going up with that kind of bunny shot. So
yeah, and I think the officials are doing a good job.
Absolutely.
They're being consistent at both ends, and if that call is there, they're going to make it.
Indeed. 2:50 left to go, 28-24. Pioneer with a 4-point lead, as Dexter had the 5-point lead at the end of the first, a 3-point lead at halftime. So Pioneer trying to push this lead ahead and keep it. Of course, basketball, a game of runs. Dexter will inbound baseline right as Murphy. They inbound. Gets it over to Rickener. Rickener takes his time, bringing it ahead as he comes over midcourt. Rickener. Now, there's a whistle, and that is going to be a off-ball foul on number 22, Murphy. That's going to be Pioneer's ball. So huge off-ball foul gets Pioneer. The turnover by Dexter. Pioneer the ball. McCoy It's it over to Bailey, back to McCoy. McCoy coming into the near corner. McCoy all the way over to Harrison in the far corner. Harrison comes into the paint, puts it up with the right hand. Wouldn't go, but gets his own rebound. Harrison putting it up, rolling all the way around. Wouldn't go, but a foul called.
That's what we were just talking about. He went up strong, and he's going to get a couple opportunities here at the line.
I feel like he also got his man a little up as almost a little pump fake as he was pulling that down. And that'll definitely turn into fouls as well if you can get your man off up in the air. Harrison bends the knees, puts it up off the front of the rim. Tough luck miss there.
I think he's just got to slow down his mechanics. He's got good mechanics.
Yeah, he has been solid from the line.
Just slow everything down here.
Spins the ball, bends the knees.
That's a little slower.
Perfect in there.
Just a little.
Sometimes you have all that energy trying to come. It's got to be hard to kind of calm it down at the free throw line.
And that goes to mental toughness. I call it concentration. And I tell the guys, hey, give your teammates another extra second or two break.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes DeMurro. DeMurro over midcourt. DeMurro working against Harrison. DeMurro on the near wing trying to split the double team. Gets it back to Smith. Smith into the near corner for Hutchison. Hutchison dishes it back off to Smith down the baseline. Smith puts it up off the front and the back of the rim. Tipped away. Carr's trying to get to it. Carr's trying to save it. Smith saves it all the way back. Grabbing it. Simpson over to DeMurro. DeMurro on the far side of the paint puts it up and in. And DeMurro gets it to 7 points on a frenetic possession. So 29-26, Pioneer by 3 as Powell takes it to the free throw line. Back to Harrison. Harrison from 3, and he hits it. Harrison has 17 points, and it's 32-26. Pioneer with 1 minute, 28 seconds left to go in the third. DeMurro for Dexter has it. As he comes to the free throw line, puts up a floater. That falls short. Out of bounds. That will be Pioneer's ball. I think he was anticipating a little contact and didn't get it. That'll definitely throw off your shot mechanics. Lee in for Powell. So Powell takes a breather with 9 points on the game. Second leading scorer for Pioneer. And McCoy bringing ahead, 32-26. Pioneer by 6 with 1:13 left to go here in the third. McCoy hands it off to Harrison. Harrison just inside of the blockades. Working against Murphy. Harrison down the near side of the paint. Off to Bailey. Bailey for 3. Off the back of the rim, trying to pull it down. Lee, as that is going to be a push underneath. Simpson picks up his second foul. As Harrison to the line. Harrison spins the ball, eyes the rim, puts it up, puts it in. You're absolutely right, just took an extra breath there. And fantastic from the line and from the field. Harrison trying to get his 19th point here with 1 minute left in the third. Puts that one up and in, 19 points for Harrison. And it's 34-26, largest lead for Pioneer in the game at 8. DeMurro for Dexter has it with 52 seconds left in the third. DeMurro, as there's some contact, he puts it up from the far elbow and pulled down by Simpson. That's going to be a foul on Pioneer. It's going to be Bailey. So Bailey picks up the foul. That is his first foul. So Dula Ogun in for Pioneer. Bounce pass trying to get it in. Karsh knocks that away and creates the turnover. Karsh has had a fantastic game. He has 3 points on the board, but man, some great defense and some good rebounding. Has had a fantastic game for him. Coming up, here comes McCoy. Pioneer up by 8 with the ball. 35 seconds left to go here in the third. McCoy on the far sideline, brings it ahead. McCoy tries to get it back to Karsh. Karsh holds on to it. Lets it not go past mid-court. Now McCoy on the near wing. McCoy. Don't stop the key over to Karsh on the far wing. Comes top of the key over onto the near wing for Bailey. Bailey, 13 seconds left to go. McCoy for three, and he hits it. McCoy with his first points of the game, but it's a huge three-pointer, and Pioneer up by 11. Quickly Dexter the other direction. Hutchison gets it back to DeMurrow. DeMurrow for three, and DeMurrow hits it as time expires. DeMurrow has 10 points, and it is a 37-29, so 8-point lead by Pioneer as Harrison has 19, McCoy with 3, 9 for Powell, 3 for Karsh, and 3 for Lee. On the other side, it's Simpson leading the scores with 10, and DeMurrow with 10, 2 for Murphy, 5 for Smith, and 2 for Rickener. Any thoughts on that third there, Coach?
Yeah, McCoy and Harrison are doing a good job. They're handling the ball most of the time and making sure the offense gets going. Both of them have hit a big three here in the last minute and a half.
Absolutely.
And those 6 points have added up. Again, both teams are playing pretty good defense.
Pioneer had a total of 16 points in the third, as opposed to 5 points for Dexter. So a huge kind of swing there.
A Pioneer out rebounded Dexter that quarter 7-3.
That's big.
And turnovers, Dexter 5, Pioneer 1.
Absolutely, Pioneer's best quarter of the game thus far, causing some issues. And it feels like a lot of that was put together by defense creating offense for them.
Correct.
8 minutes up on the clock, 37-29. Both of these squads really would love to get another SEC Red win. Pioneer 4-2 in the SEC Red, tied with Skyline. Is coming ahead down the near side. Murphy at the near wing gets it over to Hutchison. Back over to Smith. Smith on the near wing, up to the near elbow. There's a three-pointer, and off the back of the rim, pulled down by Simpson. Simpson underneath the basket. That goes out of bounds, but that will be Dexter's ball. 7:37 left to go here in the fourth. Murphy to inbound, baseline left, gets it into the far corner for DeMurrow. DeMurrow, top of the key for Murphy. Murphy comes to the far elbow, puts up the shot and in. Murphy with 4 points. That makes it a 6-point game, 37-34 for 7:22 left to go here in the fourth. Harrison coming down the far side of the paint. And it's going to be a whistle and a foul. That is going to be Murphy's third foul. First of the quarter for either of these two teams. Rickener back in for Dexter. Pioneer to inbound, baseline right. Harrison skies it all the way to Dula Ogun. Dula Ogun on the near wing. Dula Ogun gets it over to Harrison. Harrison over to Powell on the far sideline. Powell over to Dula Ogun, now to Harrison on the near wing. Harrison popped away from him, but gets it back. Now over to Dula Ogun. Powell on the far sideline, right in front of his own bench. Harrison just off the top of the key, back to Powell. Powell for three. He hits it. Powell, the big three-pointer. He now has 12, and it's 40-31. Now Dexter gets it over onto the far side. Murphy with it into the far corner for Smith. Smith down the baseline. Smith puts it up. That rolls around and in. Smith with 7 points, and it's 40-33. 7-point lead for Pioneer. Powell has it for Pioneer in the far sideline. Powell over to Harrison on the near wing. Harrison thought about it, comes top of the key now down the near side of the paint. Harrison puts up with the right hand. A little strong off the glass, but a foul.
That's a good dribble penetration. He read the defense there. The defender stood up a little bit so he could get that half-step lead on him, and nobody else was behind him.
Harrison to the line. Puts it up, puts it in.
So I think he's just slowed down those mechanics.
He had one that he went a little quick, and then since then he's been perfect from the line. So Harrison, fantastic shooter, great player for Pioneer. Puts it up, puts it in. 21 points for Harrison to lead all scorers. It's 42-33. 9-point lead for Pioneer as Rickener brings it over midcourt for Dexter. Over on the far sideline, Murphy Gets it over to Smith. Smith right in front of the Dexter bench. Smith working against Powell. Back over to Rickner, top of the key. Rickner loses the handle, or loses his footing, gets it back to Smith. Good play to dish it off from his knees. Now over to near wing to Murphy. Murphy into the near corner. Trying to work his way around his Rickner. Rickner steps back just off the three-point line. Now comes over to the near side of the paint. Rickner gets it back over to Murphy. Murphy coming down the near side of the paint. Now puts it underneath. That put up and in by Simpson. Good pass, and Simpson has 12. Good in the paint points by Dexter. 24-35, Pioneer with the lead. Harrison has it for Pioneer. Into the near corner for Powell. Powell works his way around. Over to Harrison on the far sideline. Harrison down the baseline. Whistle. Harrison has really started to attack that basket even more than he had previously in this fourth quarter, and it's turning into some good fouls for Pioneer. McCoy, inbound baseline right, 5:29 left to go here. Pioneer by 7 points. Boydston in for Dexter. McCoy into the near corner, trying to get to Harrison. That tipped out. That's going to stay Pioneer ball. So ball inbounded. Baseline right, all the way back out to Harrison. Harrison just off the top of the key. Now over to McCoy on the near wing. McCoy steps back over to Dula Ogun. Now Harrison has it in the far corner. Harrison back to Dula Ogun. Dula Ogun on the near wing to Powell. Powell comes to the near elbow into the paint. Puts up with the right hand off the back of the rim. Pulled down by Harrison. Harrison into the paint. Now McCoy for a three off the back of the rim. Harrison tracks it down. Huge rebound for Pioneer. Over to Karsh in the far wing. Karsh over to Dulogan. Now on the near wing is Harrison. 4:52 left to go. Collision off ball. That's going to be on Dulogan. That's his second, and that's going to be a turnover over to Dexter. Murphy inbounds it. Rickner brings it ahead. Pioneer up by 7. 4:45 left to go here in the fourth. Dexter with the ball. Rickner comes back on the blockades now over to Murphy. Murphy gets it over to Smith. Smith down near the baseline. That popped up off the back of the rim. Falls off to the far side. Karsh with another great rebound. Here comes McCoy over midcourt. McCoy comes down and flows it over to Harrison. Harrison into the paint. Puts it up with the left hand. Wouldn't go. Karsh with the rebound up and in. Alex Karsh with 5 points, but huge defense and huge rebounds as he has let his play be felt in this, especially in this second half.
Well, I was glad to see Harrison attack with his left hand there. He's been going with his right, and he went with his left and got there, and it ended up in a couple of points.
As that's a foul put up by
what was the call?
DeMurro. I'm assuming it's a foul after the basket, so.
Okay.
So that way they get the shots and the ball. I'm assuming that's what it was a dead ball foul. That would be what it's called.
Yeah.
As here Dexter's going to get it. So they got 1 point off of the pair. Murphy to inbound right in front of us. 8-point game. Pioneer with the lead. Rickner with the ball for Dexter. Rickner over midcourt. Rickner now coming top of the key. He's about 5 feet off the top of the key. Rickner work his way to the left, to the right, and that is going to be time. So Dexter calls a full timeout. They want to talk it over as they saw something. Coach Rickner saw something that in that possession that we're coming down to a 4:05 left to go. Still plenty of time, but Dexter wants to make sure they get the most out of this specific possession.
Correct, and these timeouts are very valuable. And I'm sure he's not just making offensive adjustments or calling something. They're going to probably do something defensively, change up something just to put a little wrinkle into it to see how Pioneer reacts.
maybe a little full court pressure coming from Dexter off of this possession.
Or 3/4 court, half
Sure.
court.
Something to switch it up and try and get some
yeah,
pressure on Pioneer.
Yeah.
As it's been a good game, but Pioneer really in this second half has been able to push this ball and keep momentum going their way. I think the rebounds have probably switched over Pioneer's way as well. Dexter had those early in the game. 4:05 left to go. Murphy to inbound right in front of us. I thank Kim always, as she does an awesome job with the statistics helping us out.
Well, here's a big number. The second half, Pioneers 6 of 7 at the line.
Huge.
And Dexter's only been there once, and they didn't knock that one down.
Rickener has it over onto the far wing for Murphy. Murphy working against Dula Ogun. And back over to Rickener. Rickener has McCoy on him. Over to Smith into the paint. Smith trying to pass it over. That pulled down by Dulogan. Dulogan coming down the far sideline underneath the Powell and couldn't quite hang on to it. That'll go out of bounds over to Dexter. 3:41 left to go here in the fourth. 44-36. Pioneer with the 8-point lead.
See, we coaches, we don't call that an 8-point lead. It's 4 buckets.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got it.
It's a closer game that way, you know.
You got it. Absolutely. As down on the far side of the paint. Bounce pass by Rickener trying to get it over to Simpson. Yeah, you can't let your team get too comfortable, right? Always got to push. Off a Pioneer, that will be inbound baseline left by Murphy. Murphy looking for a place to go with it. Launches it all the way back. Is good job by DeMurl to grab that. DeMurl over onto the near wing. Harrison on him. Hands off to Rickener. Rickener. Bounce over to Murphy. Murphy comes down the near side of the paint. Now over into the near corner for Simpson. Simpson for 3. That one goes down, but there is going to be a whistle underneath, as that is going to be a foul. McCoy picks up the foul on underneath the basket. 3 fouls on Pioneer, 3 fouls on Dexter here in the fourth. Rickener has it on the near wing. Rickener comes top of the key now to the free throw line. Rickener to the near elbow. Now fires it all the way back to Murphy. Murphy stumbles, comes down the far side of the paint, puts that up off the rim, off the glass. Karsh with the rebound. Here comes McCoy the other direction. Pioneer bringing it ahead, 44-36, into the near corner to Powell. Now Harrison has it at the free throw line, puts it up, and that rattles itself home. Harrison with 23 points. 46-36, 10-point lead by Pioneer. 2:36 left to go here in the fourth. Rickener brings it ahead as there's a screen by Smith. Rickener down the baseline into the near corner as that's fired up and put in by Murphy. That's a big three-pointer for Murphy. 7 points for him as it's 46-39. 7-point lead for Pioneer. Harrison for Pioneer gets over midcourt. Harrison on the near wing. Over to McCoy now on the far sideline. Powell with it. Pioneer wants to call a timeout as a coach wants to talk things over. It's a 30-second timeout. As, again, 3 fouls on both of these teams. As, again, big foul on that rebound underneath on McCoy helped Dexter keep that and turn that into a 3-point play.
I always like to observe these timeouts. Check out both benches and look at the body language. The coaches have their attention. They're listening. I mean, all of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're listening, and that's a good sign of a well-coached team.
Even the bench players, the folks who aren't thinking they're getting in the team, they're active.
You never know.
Yeah. And you always want to see that from the bench, too. You want to see the bench engaged and cheering for their teammates. And, never want to see anyone checked out of the game. Pioneer with a 7-point lead. 2:09 left to go. McCoy has it for Pioneer in the backcourt. McCoy brings it ahead over midcourt. Rickener picks him up there. McCoy over to Powell. Powell in the near corner, Karsh in the near corner. Gets it to Harrison. Harrison on the near wing. Harrison over to Dulogan. Now Powell has it on the far sideline. Powell over to Harrison, top of the key. Harrison. Pioneer in no hurry. 1:45 left to go here in the fourth. Harrison on the far sideline, over onto the near wing. No shot clock in Michigan high school basketball. Powell has it on the far sideline. Down, into the paint, up and in. And is that going to be an offensive foul? It will be. So Powell picks up a foul. And it will be Dexter's ball as Pioneer up by 7, 1:30 left to go. Here in the fourth, Rickener over midcourt. McCoy tips it back away. That's over and back. That will be Pioneer's ball. They'll inbound right in front of the scorer's bench. 1:24 left to go here in the fourth. And McCoy over on the far sideline. Dulogan trying to come down as he dishes that back to McCoy. McCoy over to Harrison. Harrison working against DeMurl. Harrison over to McCoy on the far sideline. McCoy now back by midcourt. Now McCoy working his way in. There is a grabbing and a foul that is going to be on Murphy. Fourth foul on Murphy. One more and he'll have to sit down, but 1:02 left to go. Pioneer really kind of forced Dexter to commit a foul there. Neither team is in the bonus, but one more foul by either team, and the other team will be. McCoy inbounding in front of his bench into the backcourt for Dulogan. Dulogan trying to work his way against Murphy. Dulogan over midcourt. Now hands it off to Harrison. Harrison. And it's going to be a foul. DeMurl picks up that foul. That is his third foul. Again, without a shot clock, Dexter, Pioneer is able to hang on to the ball. Dexter's forced the foul. Now that's their fifth foul, so that's going to put Pioneer to the line thus far. Here on after. Harrison to the line. Rattles it home. Again, he's 24 points, stayed perfect after that one miss in the second half from the free throw line. He has one more coming. Hope that didn't just jinx him. 53.7 seconds left to go. Second coming up from Harrison. He hits nothing but net. He has 25 points, leading all scorers as Dexter brings ahead. 49 seconds left to go. Pioneer up by 9 as Rickener gets it over to DeMurl, top of the key. Now over to Rickener. Rickener comes to the free throw line, down the near side of the paint, puts it up a little too strong, and off the glass, pulled down. Here comes McCoy, 35 seconds left to go. And pulled back by Simpson, but Harrison gets it. Harrison comes back out as he is picks up his dribble, hands it off to McCoy in the near corner. McCoy. Yeah, it's going to be a foul with 22.3 seconds left to go. Smith picks up his first foul. And it's going to put McCoy to the line. And if he can hit both of these, it would make it really difficult. That'd be a tough hill for Dexter to climb to come back. And would go. Rimmed out from McCoy. He has one more, trying to make it an even 10-point game or a 5-bucket game. And up and in by McCoy. McCoy has 4 points, a three-pointer and a free throw. Quickly ahead, here it comes down the near side. Murphy up and in. So Smith puts it in. Timeout by Dexter. 15 seconds left to go.
Yeah, Pioneer does not want to foul.
Indeed.
You don't want to stop the clock and your opponent scoring points at the line. So that wasn't bad. You have to give up a couple once in a while like that.
And Dexter's going to keep fighting here. This is important. Two teams trying to get to 500 or over 500, trying to get things going the right way in this season. And even if you can't come back, just fighting and getting some positive things going is huge. And Pioneer looking to close this out, get a couple wins in a row from home, and see what they can do there. That's not right. 60 minutes up on the clock. They're going to get that down to 16 seconds left. So those scoreboards are not easy to do. And by the way, it takes a lot of volunteers to run a game like this at the door, at the score bench, all over the place. We want to thank all those wonderful parents.
Well, that's one of the biggest holdbacks right now in the shot clock. Most coaches want the shot clock, but you have to have some equipment, which costs money, and you have to have another person at the score table.
Right, to reset it when it hits and everything, yeah. You couldn't ask the person running the scoreboard to do that as of now, yeah. Harrison gets it in to Dulogan. Foul with 14.6 seconds left to go.
This is crunch time. Most practices, we practice what we call pressure free throws because they are so vital at the end of a game.
Absolutely. It certainly make and break a lot of games. Dulogan puts up the first one and in. That is his first point of this game in the JV contests. He had 6 points. So 50-41, 10 seconds left. That put up, as that's going to be a foul on Dulogan, as that is going to put Murphy to the line shooting 3. So you don't love to foul a three-point shooter, especially this late in the game.
No.
Murphy can get it down to a 6-point game, puts the first one in, and that gives him 8 points. Down to an 8-point lead for Pioneer. 7.6 seconds left to go. It's going to all depend on Pioneer getting this ball in. Second one in for Murphy. I believe this is his first trip to the line. Trying to go free, 3 for 3 from the line. Puts it up. Puts all 3 in confidently and quickly. So a 6-point lead for Pioneer as they tip it out of bounds. That's going to stay Pioneer ball. Pioneer calls the timeout with 7 seconds left to go. And obviously, how many, do you have a lot of set inbounding plays that you can do where you have a lot of set motion that a lot of players have? Or is it a little bit more creativity to try and find a space?
It depends on the coach and your team's basketball IQ, I call it.
Sure, yeah.
Some players struggle with more than 2 or 3 options on something.
Yeah.
I always like to have a basic setup, the 4 corners, and vary it off that. So at least I know they'd be in a spot. We'd know where everybody's supposed to be anyway.
Yeah. Kind of have folks spread out too to try and spread the court.
Right. In a situation like this, often, you want to spread it all 4 corners.
I mean, obviously, you want the person who can handle and pass the ball best. Do you look for? Is it easier to have a taller person to get that inbound pass in there, or are you just looking for the best ball handler?
Sometimes, yeah. I always use on my small high school teams. You usually have the quarterback, and you usually have a wide end or a receiver.
Oh, sure, yeah,
and I use them in football positions for long passes. And
makes sense, absolutely. Harrison to inbound the ball. Harrison skies it up. Speaking of quarterback, all the way back out to McCoy, as that will do it. 3 seconds left. Dexter calls off the defense, and Pioneer wins by a score of 50-44. As it was a great second half for this Pioneer team. They really took it home for a 6-point win. Again, leading all scorers, Harrison with 25 points, Powell with 12. 5 for Karsh, 4 for McCoy, 3 for Lee, and 1 for Dulogan. On the other side, it was 12 for Simpson, 11 for DeMerrill, 10 for Murphy, and 9 for Smith, and 2 for Rickener. Any final thoughts on this game here, Coach?
Yeah, man, I think the difference was that third quarter. When you look at that score, Pioneer outscored them 16-5.
So 25 points for Harrison. Trying to get over to our CTN fellows there. Them trusting my stats. That's something. But, good. It really did. Yeah, that third quarter really set the tone for the rest of the game there. And Harrison had a wallop of a game.
Well, and not just looking at points. Him and McCoy handled the ball most of the time, and I'm glad he was getting predictable with his right hand, but in the end he started using his left. He come up with some pull-up jumpers, and the second half he must have shot 100% at the line.
Well, he felt like it. Yeah, absolutely, it felt like it. So.
Yeah. He just had slowed down his mechanics, and sometimes it's just a little thing like that.
Next game for Pioneer is going to be a home game on the 29th versus Ypsilanti Lincoln. So check that out. You have some final statistics there?
Yeah. I'd like to thank Kim Ahrens for doing our stats tonight.
She does a fantastic job. We can't thank her enough.
And we cover a lot of stuff. And I guarantee it's not 100% accurate, but we do the best we can.
Absolutely.
And tonight, Pioneer out-rebounded Dexter 22 to 18. This is a big stat. Pioneer got to the line 13 times and cashed in 9. Dexter only got to the line 5 times. Now that statistic sometimes means it will indicate what team's more aggressive.
Sure, yeah.
Getting to the line. Dexter 12 turnovers. We had Pioneer for 5. And not many points from the bench, but points isn't always a good measure of how your bench helps you. There's a lot of other areas. So, yeah, a good effort by Dexter. I think they played within their game plan, and Pioneer outplayed them tonight, especially that third quarter.
We thank you. Final score again: Pioneer 50, Dexter 44. Thank you to Mike Ahrens, our color commentator, Kim Ahrens doing statistics, and our Marfursta is our camera person, as well as James Wiseman. My name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a great weekend. We'll have a couple Michigan women's hockey games this weekend. Take care, and we'll see you back with Pioneer action next week.